We have a former school psychologist who's created a method to get basically more data from our kids when it boils down to it. Rich Brancaccio, he developed a wearable bracelet which vibrates to help refocus a student's attention. And he was able to create an algorithm. It sends vibration signals to this device that's on your kid's wrist, and it, quote, sparks metacognitive awareness and snap the student out of a distracted state. So now you have a device, your kid's sitting in class, and this thing will vibrate, and he has to just tap once or tap twice saying yes or no. Are you focusing right now or not? I'm distracted. And then you're supposed to go back to what you're doing in class.
So we've reached the point where your kids are actual gerbils in laboratory tests, right? With shock stimuli is what this is. 5 and 6 years ago, so tired of telling these stories. 5 or 6 years ago, when we first started to warn people about Common Core, we showed a list of these biometric machines, these biometric devices that were already being experimented with. Things that monitor your kid's heart and pulse rate, things that will tell you how much they're sweating, and now you've got stuff like this. We were utterly laughed at 5 years ago, 6 years ago when we warned about this, and it's here now.
And under the guise of anti-bullying legislation, if the government is teaching a lesson, or the government teacher is teaching a lesson about homosexual relationships, homosexual marriage, and your kid makes a face, or your kid slouches in her seat, or the pressure on your kid's mouse intensifies, right? Or blood pressure and pulse go skyrocketing, well, then it's fair to reason that your kid has the wrong attitude about homosexuality. Somewhere that kid is being taught to be a bully. And if your kid learned from you, mom and dad, that your faith tells you that homosexuality is wrong, then you're the bullies. You're the ones who are abusing that kid.
This kind of stuff is Orwellian, and the fact that it looks a little bit like a Fitbit, right? Mm-hmm. And the sense that the kids can punch these buttons in, I'm telling you, this is what's going to be happening in the future. Simple attendance at government schools will not be enough. You need to have your stimuli, you need to have your posture, you need to have your brain waves, you need to have your blood pressure, all consonant with learning the happy lessons that are being spoon-fed to you.
Basically, the watch itself, it has this vibration where it can switch patterns and strengths and frequencies so that the kid doesn't get used to it. So, it's like they're rats in a tube.
Once your kid gets used to being shocked, we'll shock him a different way.
Basically, after a 3-month pilot, Revive, that's the company.
Revive
had an almost 20% improvement over the baseline concentration for these kids, and for the top half of the kids, a 38% increase.
It's like the collar you put around a dog, right? Mm-hmm. That if it runs past its buried little lead, it gets shocked. You're shocking. Or the dogs that bark too much and you pressurize their throats. How is this treating your kids any differently? Look, they don't look at your kids like kids anymore. Your kids are lab experiments. They are experimental guinea pigs. There's a word for it. Your kids, in every educational and now even biometric way, are just guinea pigs to what the public schools want to do.
And they capture 6 of the core metrics and includes overall focus, on-task score, activity, and fidgeting. So if a kid taps a pencil, moves their feet, it's going to record that data. And then the teachers, parents, and the students can see the daily metrics looking at an app or on their desktop. And they said when they have that daily data, teachers and parents can provide recommendations to tweak the child's day for maximum productivity.
Yeah.
Tweak. And it gets better because we already have 12,000 schools in America that are using this. This device costs $150 per device. And most recently, this is the big one, New York City Department of Education, which is one of the largest school systems in the whole darn world, signed on to this.
Yes, they did.
Great.
And when Bernie Sanders, we go back to an earlier story, says we don't pay enough money to the schools, that's what they mean. They don't mean better textbooks. They don't mean better math instruction. They don't mean guaranteeing that our kids can read by the time they're in high school. No, it's none of that stuff. It's this garbage we're this month. $150 for every device for every kid in New York schools.